back to science, hey? Space News, Andrew Lound is here. Andrew, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm calming down now. Stick with me, Andrew. You're going to get recognised wherever you go. I believe it's happened again.
Yeah, it was quite good, really, coming out of the co-op, and I was spotted. And then there was a relatively local event which was talking about extraterrestrials and mysticism and things like that. And I was sort of the scientist on the panel for what it was. And the person is introducing us one by one, and they say, "Oh, it's Andrew Lound. You may have seen him on the Unexplained with Howard Hughes on talkTV." And a pair of ladies' underwear flew onto the stage, and somebody shouted, "Do you want a close encounter?"
Well, of the sixth kind, by the sounds of that. My God.
Oh, dear.
Well, now you know how Tom Jones felt. I mean, my God.
Amazing.
I can't top that. You know, it's amazing to be recognized. I used to get recognised a lot by voice when I was doing the big London radio show, and people always thought, "Are you the guy who does the Black and Decker ad?" Once, I can tell this story now, and we must be getting onto the space news, but once I was in a urinal, right, in Dublin, and the man standing there, I hate to talk, I mean, it just, you know, I don't like, you know, I just get whatever has to be done and go, thank you very much. I don't want to be having a conversation with the man in the stall next to me. But this guy, and I'm in the middle of doing What You Do, and so is he. And he looks at me, he says, "Do you know that you bear a remarkable resemblance to the late actor Peter O'Toole?"
Oh,
that's a true story.
That's a good one.
Don't overthink it. Let's get the space news now. Let's get the space news now, because it's supposed to be a serious programme, this. Okay, story number one, India. All over the news this week, the emerging new space superpower. They are going to the sun now. They're already on the moon. Varying reports about whether they've lost contact or, you know, have sent to sleep permanently the lander that they've sent to the moon. But they're on the way to the sun. India is a real big deal now.
Yes, they are a big deal now. It's quite important that their technology does develop. They've got the largest population in the world, which means if you're going to sustain that, you actually do need technology. So they're developing their own technologies rather than buying in, which is quite important, really, for a nation, certainly of that size. And bearing in mind their budget for their annual space program is only 0.04% of their GDP. So it's actually quite small potatoes, really, when it comes to the budget. The rover that they placed down on, well, the lander and rover they placed down on the surface of the moon was brilliant. It's gone 14 days, so it has to go into hibernation, or technically speaking, the mission was only supposed to last 14 days anyway, because it's solar panel operated. So therefore, once the sun goes down, that's it. You lose it. But what they've done is they've made sure the batteries were fully charged, and it's a long shot. They said, but it might recover in another 14 days, but they're not expecting it to, put it that way. They're not trying to. It has got no heaters on board. But they did something quite remarkable, to be quite honest. They fired the boosters again on the lander, and it lifted up and moved about 40 centimetres and dropped down again as a test to actually manoeuvre a lander. As far as I know, that's very much the first time that's been done with a major lander. That's actually quite an impressive stunt to actually pull up. When
NASA landed 6 times, or however many it did, once the lander was down there, it was down there.
It's down, that's it. So that's quite a remarkable stunt to actually have pulled off, really. Plus, the lander has already, the rover has already produced fantastic results. It's detected a moonquake. First time we've had a direct moonquake done directly measured for quite many years, decades, and that's quite an important discovery because it's a natural event. It wasn't caused by an impact or anything, so that's important. And the discovery of sulfur and other materials there, it's been quite a spectacular mission, to say the very least, so far. And now, of course, they're on the way to do some solar observing, placing it into one of the Lagrange points so it can be actually stable, looking and observing the sun, which is really quite impressive.
Let's get on to this. I read this yesterday morning and thought this is really important. And I was very surprised that it didn't get on to like mainstream news bulletins, because it is that important. LiveScience.com and various other places reported NASA's Perseverance rover has generated 4.3 ounces of breathable oxygen on Mars, enough to sustain somebody like you or me for 3 hours. That's big. Yes. That's big news.
It's what they've done is this is the total. They've been doing this for quite some time on the surface, and therefore they've just reported again on one of the regular reports just how much they've produced so far. And yes, the mainstream media didn't really pick it up particularly because what they've done is, oh, well, we know it's producing oxygen because they've already stated before. But as you rightly said, it's been continuously doing it and produced, something which could last 3 hours for the average human, which is quite an important discovery because it is only a small unit as well. There's nothing spectacular about this unit apart from the principles behind it. So it's a very big story indeed in many respects, which suggests large units placed on the surface of Mars could generate enough oxygen then to keep a community going. That's actually really important. Or, of course, produce the oxygen that you need for a vehicle to actually use as fuel with hydrogen. So, yes, it's quite an important discovery, really. It's a shame it sort of goes past. But there's so much going on now. That's the point. And there's so much data coming in now. There's only so much the mainstream can do, and especially during a football season.
Yes, very well put. OK, let's. I've got 6 stories here. I can only pick one more. Let's hope this is the right one, OK? Let's spin the bottle and see where it lands. A comet, Nishimura. What do you know about Comet Nishimura?
Yes, it's a comet that was picked up in August. What's remarkable about this is the Japanese amateur who discovered it in the most simplest possible form using his normal camera, normal SLR, digital SLR, and a telephoto lens photographing the sky, and actually found a comet before anybody else saw it, using their telescopes with CCDs and things like that. So it's quite remarkable how he's discovered it. It's a comet that has about 400 odd year orbit, so it's the first time we've seen it in 400 years, technically speaking. It's going to get quite close to the sun, 33 million kilometers or so. It's going to still be over 100 kilometers away from the Earth, and it is technically visible. People have been seeing it and photographing it, I should say, rather than naked eye visibility. But it's very low in the sky in dawn. So if you stop up till dawn, you'll see Venus really bright low down. It's actually below there. So I'm afraid the sun is going to interfere. So it's very much, I think, for southern skies, and certainly places like Egypt, Italy, North Africa, they're the ones really getting a good view of it at the moment, possibly southern France as well, certainly Spain. We'll be actually getting to see it at the moment. But yeah, it should be quite good. Maximum visibility was over this weekend, but it'll be slowly disappearing.
I'm glad we're adding to your fame, Andrew. I'm amazed at how it's spreading. I can just see it now. You call me Mystic Howie. I've just got this feeling that the next thing is going to be Andrew Lound starring in The Full Monty.
Oh my goodness, that would put people off for starters.
But whereas they came on as weren't they dressed as firemen or something, or police officers?
I could do a spacesuit.
No, a spacesuit. I was going to say it needs to be a spacesuit, and you can keep your helmet on if you'll pardon the expression. Andrew Lound, thank you very much indeed. What is your website if people want to check out your stuff?
Yes, www.andrewlound.com.
The Unexplained with Howard Hughes. Going to places where the others don't. I'm talking about space, of course.